Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, man, this doesn't work. So let's get open for business and let's wake up the football gods up here. And hope everybody's doing great. You know, it's Thursday, one more day until the weekend, and tomorrow night, special edition of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Because live in studio, we're going to have the mouth that roared, Vosh Lombardi, E2 Blue, and DMV Dallas Cowboys for a roundtable. And right now it is raining like a mother. And I'm hoping that tomorrow night it won't be raining like a mother so we can actually do a roundtable around the square table or square fire pit and be talking about Dallas Cowboys because we are under a month for our team going to training camp. And here we sit, the team has done everything they can to get it ready for training camp. You know, getting players healthy and off-season workouts, drafting players, signing free agents and stuff. They have done everything possible to make the team and the players better. And so this is that kind of off-season second go-round here. The little taste that we got of mini camp and OTAs and everything else to get us excited, get our juices flowing, to then have everything shut down for 6 weeks. Well, we only have four more to go, and then the team will be in Oxnard. So this is the silly season where we look for things to talk about. And the Bleacher Report, you know, things seem to be changing on a perception of the Dallas Cowboys, where ESPN and things rated us at like 18th and things like that, and Dak Prescott a tier three quarterback and things. But the Cowboys are beginning to get some love, and I'm not sure how I feel about that because it seems like when we're expected to do stuff, we don't really do things. But today they were ranking the coaches' staffs, and it's interesting to see where they have the Dallas Cowboys. Now we know the Redskins with Jay Gruden, they're like 20. I think they're 20, and I think the Giants are somewhere like 27 stuff. We're not really concerned about those guys. They're in rebuilding modes, and Jay Gruden is probably a dead man walking unless they make the playoffs this year, which is always a possibility because we've seen teams go from worst to first, hence the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. You know, they went from the outhouse to the penthouse, and let's see if we can put them back in the outhouse. So I'm just going to go from the top 15 down and see where our Dallas Cowboys coaching staff goes. So, of course, Carolina Panthers, you know, Ron Rivera, been to a Super Bowl, could not get over the hump against Denver. 71 and 56 and 1. Not a bad record. He, of course, has Norv Turner. I would love to have Norv Turner as an offensive coordinator. He did most of his damage with the Dallas Cowboys, but then when you have a Hall of Famer in Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin, and the best offensive line in football, I think I could probably be a pretty good play caller. And from there, we have a former Dallas Cowboys head coach, defensive coach Mike Zimmer. Another team that was one step away from the Super Bowl. Mike Zimmer, 47, 32, and 1. Another winning record. You can't argue with what he's been able to do with Minnesota. And that's a pretty good coaching staff, although they're handicapped with Kirk Cousins. Okay, Atlanta Falcons. Interesting. Dan Quinn, you know, who came in where the Falcons were a team that just could not win once they got to the playoffs. In fact, Matty Ice went to the playoffs four times, his first four times, and could not win a single game. It's a good thing he was not a Dallas Cowboys player because he would be getting killed right now. But he came in and 36 and 28. He went to the Super Bowl and he caught a excuse me a cold. Sorry, I was choking on something there. But again, good coaching staff. They've had some great offensive numbers and things, and they've had their time. So that's reasonable. And here we have Jason Garrett and the Dallas Cowboys. Now understand that this is not just Jason Garrett. This is the whole coaching staff in totality. And I dare say that where we are this year is better than what we had last year. You remember we had Mr. Ketchup Bottle, who his main thing that he liked about offensive linemen was the fact that they knew to tap on the 57 so that way the ketchup would come out the bottle. Wasn't worried about how they blocked, But if they knew how the ketchup came out the ketchup bottle, then they've got the intelligence to play offensive line. Well, getting rid of him has definitely got the offensive line. The offensive line was definitely in flux. You could see that it was painful watching them work in the first part of the season. Then we had a bunch of injuries and things, but I think we are definitely in better shape than where we were there. Chris Richard in year number 2. Chris Richard, you look at the leap that some of the players took on that defense. I mean, Byron Jones being a shutdown corner until he had the hip flexor injury. You saw Jeff Heap coming along and getting better with his math angles, taking better angles and stuff. There's a fly in here. It's driving me crazy. I've got a Dallas Cowboy fly swatter upstairs, and I need to go get it and swat this damn. I hate flies. I hate you, fly. So you look at the defense with Rod Marnelli, who is technically the defensive coordinator, but really it's Chris Richard's baby right now. Rod Marnelli, the defensive line whisperer. I'm good with our coaching staff on defense. And where I say we've improved, of course, like I said, getting rid of Mr. Ketchup Bottle has definitely been a plus. And I dare say, change for the sake of change's sake. Getting rid of Scott Linehan is huge. If for no other reason that there's no book out on what Kellen Moore will call. That alone is an improvement. The Dallas Cowboys offense was so predictable that it was literally like knowing that the sun's going to come up tomorrow morning. That's how predictable it was. And having a fresh set of eyes, we don't know how well he's going to get. We don't know if he's going to end up being Sean McVay or something else. Time will tell. But just having a fresh set of eyes, somebody who's younger, who can hopefully relate to the players, the fact that he's listening to the players, which is something Scott Linehan never did. So you start to look at these pieces and these coaches and things, and you look at it, and you then say, head coach, Jason Garrett. We know Jason Garrett has been doing on-the-job training for a long time. We know about clock management issues. We know about icing the kicker. But I'm going to say this much, and I've said it a couple times. It's hard for me to say, Jason Garrett's a nice guy. Jason Garrett's a guy you'd like to sit down and have a conversation with. Jason Garrett's a guy you'd like to go ahead and play some after-practice throwing competition and stuff with. But I will tell you the one thing that I will give Jason Garrett credit for. Living out here in Northern Virginia and seeing what happened to the Washington Redskins when things went south. How the team cratered. How it literally fed on itself. How dysfunctional it is that the head coach doesn't even know that they're signing Landon Collins until the media brings it up. Seeing the players that are literally talking about practice and how they don't practice right and how they are stunning their growth. When you see other teams, Cowboys were 3-5. And there was word that we almost fired Scott Linehan during the bye week, and we were talking about the next coach for the Dallas Cowboys. It would have been easy for our Dallas Cowboys to go ahead and just say, F it. We're done. To start pointing fingers. But you never, ever once saw that from the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if it was Jason Garrett that did that. I don't know if it was the players. But here's the thing. It all starts at the top, and it works its way down. So I have to give him credit on that one. Ranking the Cowboys coaching staff higher than Carolina, higher than Atlanta, and what was the other one? And Minnesota. Two teams that went to the Super Bowl, and one that's been pretty good for a while. That actually says quite a bit to put them there at 12. Let's see exactly what Bleacher Report says. For his first two-thirds of his head coach career, Jason Garrett was considered a punchline. Over his first 6 seasons, Garrett had 1 playoff trip and an annual fixture on the hot seats list. Garrett still is on this list, but the last 3 years, it's been a different story. Since Dak Prescott hit Dallas, 32-16, and has made the postseason twice and has won the Coach of the Year award. Maybe he can coach after all. Let's say the jury's still out of that. Garrett compliments by some of the better defensive coaches in the game. Rod Marnelli has been his coordinator since 2014, and defensive backs coach Chris Richard would become a coordinator or more in a few teams. To his credit, Garrett has only had one losing season in 8 full years in Dallas. Yeah, well, he had 3 8-8s. So we'll see where that goes. We'll just kind of breeze through the rest of this real quick. Colts, okay. Frank Wright, the master, the man who literally has the two biggest come from behind victories in college and NFL history. I can give you that one. The Bears, I'd say let's give Matt Nagy a little more time. I mean, he had a great rookie season. Let's see how it goes after this year. Chargers. I can't argue with Anthony Lynn because I tell you what, Anthony Lynn quietly, nobody thought about the Chargers much, but the Chargers have been a lights out team in LA with no fan base and no home field advantage. So I might even say he should be a little higher than that. Steelers, Mike Tomlin has done some good things, although the last couple of years it seems like the team has been kind of lost, kind of been stuck in, and that's one of those ones that maybe it's time to make a change for change's sake because you get stale. Of course, Pete Carroll. You're beginning to wonder if some of the magic has kind of come off of that a little bit, but we'll wait and see on that one. Because you have to kind of give a lot of that credit to that defense that Chris Richard had built. Now, let's see how it does without Chris Richard in that defense. Ravens, maybe a little high. Eagles, fifth. I can't argue with the Eagles. They've got a great coaching staff, and that's one of the reasons why Carson Wentz is able to do so well and how Nick Foles was able to step in, because it's coaching. And they had some really good players, too. When you have some really good players, it makes your coaching look a lot better. Kansas City, Andy Reid. Andy Reid is a great regular season coach, but it just doesn't seem like he's the playoff kind of guy. He's been to one Super Bowl with the Eagles, but, we had Donovan McNabb toss his cookies. Saints, Sean Payton. God, that's a terrible picture of him. Can't argue with that one. Sean McVay. I'm not sure I'm ready to say second just yet. Although he did some great things with Jared Goff, you saw them kind of lose a little of that shine. Let's see where it goes this year. I'm going to put myself out here, and I guess Ram fans will come after me, but I think that the Rams are going to go south this year. There's always 3 teams in each conference on average that made the playoffs one year that don't the next. There's always some teams that are Cinderella stories that are in the basement that come up and win and make the playoffs. And I've got a feeling that I think the Rams might be this year's first to worst team. Well, I'm not saying worst, but not a playoff team. And of course, who can argue with Darth Vader himself? New England Patriots and Bill Belichick. So that's a look at Bleacher Report's ranking. I want to know how you feel about the Dallas Cowboys coaching staff. Is 12 about right? Too high? Too low? And don't forget tomorrow night for the Mega Roundtable. I'm Mark Holmes, and I'll see you guys soon.